Throughout its first few episodes, the new historical epic series Shogun on FX Hulu makes multiple references to the actual Imjin War. Shogun tells the story of the real-life Tokugawa shogunate's ascent at the beginning of the 17th century in medieval Japan, ushering in the long-lasting Edo period of stability and peace in the country. The real-life tale of Tokugawa Ieyasu, who overcame the deadly constraints of the Council of Five Elders to establish his own family line and rule Japan as shogunate for 260 years, served as the model for Lord Yoshi Toranaga. Shogun premiered on February 17, 2024, to a resounding reception. After 3 episodes, it had an almost perfect 100% Rotten Tomatoes score. Even though Shogun clearly strays from the actual account of Tokugawa's ascent to power and William Adams's role in the feudal conflicts, the series is unquestionably a critical success and John Blackthorne's real-life inspiration. The Battle of Sekigahara, which took place in October 1600 and unofficially marked the start of the Edo period and the Tokugawa shogunate, will undoubtedly be shown in Shogun. But in the Imjin War, Japan and Korea were at war just before to the events of Shogun. Even while Shogun doesn't explicitly depict the Imjin War, its effects are felt strongly throughout the whole plot. Towards the end of the 16th century, Japan launched 2 distinct but related invasions of Korea, which together constituted the Imjin War. After a temporary truce in 1596, there were 2 invasions, the first in 1592 and the second in 1597. Toyotomi Hideyoshi, the man who established the Council of Five Elders, referred to as the Council of Regents in the Anon, and is depicted as the Teleiko in Shogun Episode 2, was the initiator of both invasions. The goal of Hideyoshi's involvement in the Imjin War was to overthrow China and Korea. However, this did not turn out well for Japan. Following the Taiko's death in 1598, the newly formed Council of Five Elders gave the Japanese forces, who had invaded Korea a second time, the command to quit their mission and return to Japan. According to the Encyclopedia of World History, the ambitious campaign got off to a brilliant start as cities like Pyongyang and Seoul were captured. But eventually, the combined operations of the Korean Navy and a large land army from Ming China resulted in the first invasion stalling. As he approached the end of his life during the Imjin War, Hideyoshi had long harbored ambitions to expand Japan's borders by subjugating its neighboring territories, China and Korea. Though revered as a great war general, Hideyoshi's ambitions to conquer Ming China may have been misguided, because the first invasion revealed just how much resource Japan would actually need to exhaust in comparison to the combined might of Korea and China. It was prudent for the Council of Five Elders to put a halt to the second invasion before it could fail any further, as the first had. According to the Encyclopedia of World History, Hideyoshi's scheme was so ambitious some historians have taken it as evidence of a mental disorder which manifested itself in other forms, such as his paranoia that those closest to him, including his nephew and first-choice heir, were conspiring against him. Although the Teleiko's sanity isn't explicitly mentioned or explored in Shogun, this historical background does provide more context for the necessity of a new shogun to succeed him. On the other hand, other historians contend that Hideyoshi sent his enthusiastic generals to Korea with good reason in order to prevent bloody clashes on Japanese territory. If anyone was clearly losing the Imjin War, it was Japan, as China and Korea were successful in blocking Hideyoshi's 2 huge invasions. The Teleiko clan envisioned a triumphant conquest of China and Korea, but in the end, the Imjin War severely diminished their authority in Japan. The Imjin War serves mostly as a backdrop for Japan's seeming unity before to Hideyoshi's death and the Battle of Sekigahara. Hence, this point isn't truly made in Shogun. The dream of a Japanese empire perished in 1598 along with Hideyoshi. Korea lost a great deal of soldiers in the Imjin War. At least 125,000 Korean citizens are known to have died, and an additional 60,000 to 70,000 were captured. The 2 invasions also began to undermine China's Ming dynasty, and the war's immediate aftermath severely damaged the country's economy. The diplomatic and trade relations were restored with Korea from the year 1607 onward. Even though the wounds of the Imjin Wars would never really heal, the World History Encyclopedia states. Since Toranaga and Ishida fought together under the Japanese banner, but are now bitter foes, the Imjin War is mentioned in Shogun in an attempt to restore the unity that once existed among the regents. It proves that Japan could come together for a common cause in the name of what they thought was best for the nation. notwithstanding the Taiko's genuine reasons for initiating the war. Shogun's allusions to the Imjin War demonstrate how much Japan needs a new military commander in the wake of Hideyoshi's passing. Ironically, compared to the feudal lord disputes that would escalate at the Battle of Sekigahara, the Imjin War may have been a time of calm and unification for Japan. Korea and Japan saw significant cultural overlaps as a result of the Imjin War's aftermath, and both countries unintentionally learned a great deal about one another's traditions and armaments during that time. Said another way, the Imjin Wars symbolized Japan's first real attempt to become a world power, a goal that persisted from the Tokugawa shogunate's beginnings as portrayed in Shogun.